Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying that I've supported this motion for 33 years of my life. And we had a prime minister in 1966 called Indira Gandhi. She supported this motion. If I hadn't supported the motion, my colleagues hadn't supported the motion, and the prime minister hadn't supported the motion, there would be no wildlife left in India. Be very clear about this fact. There would be no inputs to Wildscreen from India in any category. There would be no articles. There would be nothing. It's happened because areas were demarcated for animals, and an effort was made to resettle people from those areas to make them as inviolate as possible. In my span of 33 years, I've worked for 15 years with local communities around a park. I actually graduated doing sociology, believe it or not. And in this process, I tried very hard to engage local communities to live near endangered species and do something about them, but they were very clear about the fact that they'd prefer to kill some of those endangered species like the tiger, but there are others, elephant, rhino, wild buffalo, all kinds of things, even small organisms that are very poisonous, then try and live with them. And they would prefer that in their landscapes where they lived, government came in to do the right thing. Now, it's a different question whether that happened or not, but they were absolutely right, because if you take India's history, from 1850 to 1950, if you take the tiger, 35,000 people were killed by tigers who lived near them. Surely nobody wants to go against this motion. You don't want to have man-eating tigers running around or rhinos and elephants killing human populations. You try and separate them so you give peace to both. Of course, nearly 100,000 tigers were killed, both by sportsmen, but a lot by local communities in revenge killings, because tigers ate four-legged animals that communities kept, buffaloes and cows, and nearly 500,000 were consumed in the same period of time during that 100 years. I think the whole business of coexistence or wanting to spend time close to endangered species comes in rooms all over the world by big institutions, by a whole bunch of people who don't have the practical knowledge. We faced that with the World Bank. They came to India in the mid-1990s wanting to alleviate poverty, but also save tigers and lions. They spent $75 million trying to do this in 7 protected areas and made a complete hash of it, a complete mess of it. It's difficult to repair the damage that was done because menus are mixed and merged because it sounds very cuddly. Sometimes in life and in the practical reality of life, you cannot merge these menus. India is a country of 1.2 billion people. We add 20 million people each year to our population, more than the total population of Australia. My activist colleagues keep telling me about examples from Australia about Kakadu National Park. But I went to Kakadu National Park to explore this. There are 300 Aborigines who work in 25,000 square kilometers of Kakadu National Park. They have rights inside, they can live inside, they can be with endangered species like the crocodile or whatever else. In India, if we had, and we don't have, 25,000 square kilometers, there would be a minimum of 2 million people who would want rights inside that, which would result in the complete wipeout of that particular area. So I believe it's very dangerous, even though it's become fashionable, to do this number of coexistence. And sad to say, but even in India, our politicians have got into the act now. So we have a new legislation which says rights to forest dwellers. We've created a new category in India called forest dweller. It means you have to prove that for 75 years you lived in or around a forest. The whole world and his dog is becoming a forest dweller because there's a natural treasure house there with $3 trillion and the mafias will loot and plunder it if you don't separate people and wildlife and don't allow this ridiculous mix that takes place. I think we live in a very difficult world. We've had all our financial pundits and market managers destroy the financial markets of the world. I, for one, after 33 years, don't want the same esoteric intellectual conversations to take place about coexistence, about people and animals, because countries like India, which are overpopulated, will have nothing left. So I'm very clear that let's look at the problem very clearly. Let's do the very best for people in the landscapes in which people live. There are hundreds of ways to generate income from the landscapes in which animals live. We have lots of models, some of which are successful across the world, especially in Africa, and now in other countries also, in South America. We need to exchange ideas in the continent, but with the mission objective. And that mission objective is, let's not play games on this issue. We have very little time to save what's left. We have huge problems in the human landscape. We have, in some countries and in a lot of countries of the world, a huge population growth. So let's keep wildlife landscapes away from human beings. That's essential today, and it makes common sense because I come from a country, and I know that if we had done anything different in the 1960s, India would not be on the wildlife map of the world at all. Whatever little we have left, maybe 25,000 Asiatic elephants, a few thousand rhinos, 1,400 tigers, and a whole series of species right down to small amphibians and snakes. We have it there because they've not been trampled over, they've not been taken over. And I'm not talking here about the poorest of the poor. We have a huge private sector who's desperate to launch into this amazing land bank of the wild landscapes of India. Take it over, develop it, industrialize it. We have to sit together and work out a plan where maybe we have 600 protected areas in India, maybe we should have 100. But people of opposing views should sit together to make sure that the final 100 or 150 you have don't have human beings in them. Because the variety and type of human beings in a country which is overpopulated, and there are lots of them across the world, will create the mafias that will come, plunder, and loot. So I support this motion completely. Thank you.